Marriage. Marriage is what brings us together today.
But imagine if marriage didn't exist, and you're a guy and you ask a woman to get married. Imagine what that conversation would be like. You'd be like, hey, so, we've been hanging out together all the time, spending a lot of time together and everything. Yeah, I know. I want to keep doing that till you're dead. What? I want to keep hanging out with you till one of us dies. Put this ring on your finger so people know we have an arrangement. What? Who's that guy? It's a priest. I want you to swear to God you won't back out of this deal. What's he wheeling in? It's a cake with 2 tiny dolls that look like us. Eat a slice. Now feed a little bit to me. This is really strange. Why are we doing this? Tax purposes.
It's a beautiful night. We're looking for something dumb to do. Hey baby, I think I wanna marry you. Is it the look in your eyes, or is it this dancing juice? Who cares, baby? I think I wanna marry you. Well, I know this little chapel on the boulevard we can go. No one will know. Oh, come on, girl. Who cares if we're trash? Got a pocket full of cash we can blow. Shots of Patrol, and it's on, girl. Don't say no, 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 no. Just say yeah, 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 yeah. And we'll go, 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 go. If you're ready, like I'm ready. 'Cause it's a beautiful night. We're looking for something dumb to do. Hey baby, I think I wanna marry you. Is it the look in your eyes, or is it this dancing juice? Who cares, baby? I think I wanna marry you. Oh, I'll go get a ring, let the choir bells sing like ooh. So what you wanna do? Let's just run, girl. If we wake up and you wanna break up, that's cool. No, I won't blame you.
I put a spell on you.
First date.
Let's see. Emerson and we met online. We met on OkCupid.
As most of you probably know, Parisa and I met on OkCupid, so we met on the internet.
I thought he was cute and must have clicked on his picture. He must have saw that I clicked on his picture and he asked me out.
And of course, for things to kind of proceed, you have to actually meet in person. So,
originally he asked me out for dinner. That was a big commitment, so...
we wound up setting up a date for getting yogurt in a place that was kind of near Stanford. So I, biked from work, met Parisa. She said that she would be wearing a neon top because she has a penchant for bright colors.
And frozen yogurt was the perfect suggestion. So we went to Yogurtland and we met there and he bought me yogurt.
We wound up meeting, grabbing yogurt. We found a nice little bench on University Avenue, which is a nice little downtown street, and wound up sitting there and having somewhat wide-ranging conversation typical of a first date, covering, you know, what you do, these kinds of things.
And we talked for a really long time. He talked about baseball and what he did at Stanford. I talked a little bit about Google.
Later, it turned out, you know, she had tried to Google me, and I am basically a ghost on the internet. And I had not Googled her, which she found to be kind of strange. So I had a lot to learn about her.
I remember he admitted that he read the Twilight series.
Conversation ranged to from what we did to what kinds of books and things we like to read, movies, and somehow during that conversation I think I revealed I had actually read the Twilight books,
which I thought was very confident to do.
And that later Parisa told me was quite shocking to her, and she actually, you know, subsequently sent me some funny links to some comics about that, and that was very endearing. So we wound up having a very long 2 to 3 hour conversation, to the point where it started to get a little bit dark and a little bit chilly, so I started to feel very bad that I had forced her to sit and chat with me for that long. So
and then he walked me back to my car and gave me a hug.
I walked her to her car, and I remember kind of wanting to indicate that I had a good time, and that, you know, hopefully this was not just straight friendship, but not be too forward, so I wound up giving her a hug, and saying that I'd love to see her again. So that was the first date.
Okay, first kiss.
So, first kiss. Yeah, so this was something that I was extremely nervous about. I think anybody who knows me knows I'm a little bit worried about making people feel uncomfortable, and this was something that I thought hopefully would go well, but also had the possibility of making her feel uncomfortable. So,
first kiss is also known as awkward car kiss.
I think it was our third date.
Probably date 3.
We wound up going to an Indian restaurant that I really liked, where I once again impressed her with how much food I can eat.
So I played mini golf, and we went to dinner at Chat Paradise, which was and is Emerson's favorite restaurant. He ordered. He always orders because he knows what he wants. Chana masala, that's a favorite.
Then we went to a mini golf course where she proceeded to thoroughly demolish me.
I totally kicked his butt. It's probably the only time I've kicked his butt, so maybe he just let me, but that was a slaughtering.
And then, you know, when it came time to take her home, you know, of course in me there was this growing anxiety of, you know, this was the date where I was like, you know, it should be the first kiss. I need to kind of show her that I'm interested and not get relegated to the friend zone. So
yes, from Emerson's perspective, he wanted to make sure that, you know, he did not get stuck in the friend zone.
So when I stopped outside of her apartment, you know, I was contemplating, should I walk her to her door? Is that too forward? So
Awkward car kiss.
I wound up settling on a very awkward car kiss where
I was really awkward because it was like the end of the date and you know you need to do something. And he drove me home.
we each were seated facing forward and kind of, you know, half turned to.
And we both sort of awkwardly leaned in and, you know, kissed over the parking brake and yeah.
To hug and then have a little kiss there. So our first kiss was a very awkward car kiss.
I mean, it was sweet, but awkward.
So yeah, sadly it was not as well, I guess, executed as one might hope, but it didn't seem to hurt anything in the end.
First anniversary? We started dating in June 5th, 6th.
As far as the first anniversary, I'm not sure that we even agree on the date that our first date was. But
we may have celebrated a first dating anniversary, but I know we didn't celebrate anything for the second one.
So, first anniversary, we really didn't do anything for our first anniversary.
Maybe we'll do that for weddings.
You know, I think you know, this getting married, I think, you know, in a year we'll probably do something that will be much more significant.
Yeah. I don't know.
Proposal. So I had been thinking about this for a while.
We talked about getting married. I think we're both very logical, analytical people, less spur of the moment. So, you know, we talked about it. We even went ring shopping. So I sort of knew, you know, it was coming, and we actually had a trip planned for Hawaii, which Emerson planned.
And I had planned a trip to go to Hawaii, so we were going to go to Hawaii together, and I thought, you know, this would be a really picturesque and romantic place to kind of pop the question.
So I thought for sure he was going to ask Ben, and I was sort of expecting that.
Sadly, the more and more that I thought about it, the more anxious I think I got about that plan, for a number of reasons. You know, I was thinking, what if the opportunity really doesn't present itself? I knew that I would kind of be a little bit anxious until I found an opportunity to ask her, so that I probably wouldn't enjoy the vacation as much and might seem preoccupied. And finally, you know, if for some reason I horribly misread the situation and she said no, I thought that would make for quite an odd and kind of off-putting vacation. So I eventually settled on asking her before we went.
But then we ended up going out to dinner a couple days before Hawaii.
And got a reservation at a restaurant that I thought seemed nice, that was very close to our first date location. We had a dinner that I thought was very good, although I think I was probably very preoccupied and not as good a conversationalist as I might normally be, which...
And in retrospect, I guess he seemed a little bit nervous.
I think she picked up on, and then we went for dessert to Yogurtland.
So we went to Yogurtland, the same Yogurtland we had on our first date, and we had a bunch of dates at. And
which was our first date location, and got yogurt and managed to sit on the same bench where we had our first date without having to kick off any homeless people.
We went to sit on the same bench we actually sat on for our first date, and yeah.
And there I imagined having a very smooth transition, telling her all the wonderful things about her, and, you know, popping the ring at the same time. Sadly, my kind of paranoia about losing things had gotten me to put the ring in a zippered pocket. And while I was telling her all these wonderful things about her and how happy I was having a disastrous time trying to get that ring out of the zippered pockets.
Actually, he fumbled around a little bit, so I sort of then knew it was coming because I think he had a little trouble finding the ring.
So there was a very long and protracted delay, and I think she could see what was coming, but eventually I did manage to get the ring out.
But he asked me then. He asked if he wanted to, if he should get down on one knee. I said, okay. But I was very surprised and very happy. And then, yeah. That was how it happened.
And she did say yes, and so I was very happy, and that's, of course, why we're here today.